Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.
Hey everyone, I'm Yvette Lloyd of Life Her Podcast. We are honored to welcome Dr. Marlo Nicole Richardson, a trailblazer in business, community empowerment, and entrepreneurship. A proud Inglewood native, Dr. Richardson has shattered barriers and throughout her career, from becoming the first Black woman to chair the California State Licensing Board to build successful ventures like California Vintage, Wine Bistro, and many more other accomplishments, such as multiple hospitality businesses. Recognized with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and she has deeply committed to empowering the next generation throughout her nonprofit, Generational Wealth Builders Worldwide. Dr. Richardson's story is one of the resilience, innovation, and dedication of uplifting her community. So let's dive deep into her incredible journey. Hello, Dr. Richardson. How are you?
Hi, thank you. You can call me Marlo. That's fine.
Okay. Hey, Marlo.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I prefer the less formal. It's more comforting for me. I guess I'm still not used to that, but thank you.
I feel you. That's the humbleness in you. So tell me, growing up in Inglewood, what's the values and lessons from your upbringing shaped you into your journey becoming trailblazer in business and community empowerment?
So, funny and true story. I was actually talking to my sister about that exact thing this morning. So it's
Oh,
great that you asked me that. Growing up in Inglewood, it kind of it gives you a sense of real life. And for example, I have two daughters right now, and they are in a bigger picture, they are growing up sheltered, not by choice, but just a different type of lifestyle that they have. My oldest, for example, is 14, and she tries to tell me about, Inglewood. I'm like, you have no idea. Like, you've never stepped foot in any scenario where you had to defend yourself, fight for yourself, fight for your friends. You've never been in that scenario. So you can't relate to growing up in Inglewood. She's been in private school all of her life. She lives in a gated community. She just has, a lifestyle that I guess I would have had growing up. And so what that upbringing did, and what my sister and I were discussing today, is her children, my nieces and nephews, she called them like naive, and not in a negative sense, but in the business world and even in just regular life, unfortunately, people are sometimes manipulative. They lie, they cheat, they steal. And, my daughters, my nieces, my nephew, they're just so kind, good-hearted, and they believe what they hear. If you say, I'm going to do a certain thing, it's like they really believe that. So it's really easy for people that grow up like that to be let down, to be disappointed. And so it's important for me, especially with my upbringing, just to be realistic. Like, hey, you can't believe everything that you hear, and I hate to sound cynical, but it's like, this is real life. In real life, people don't always keep their promises. People don't always do what they say. People sometimes will tell you things knowing that it's not true. And to try to implement that in business has been probably fundamentally what has been able to help me kind of succeed in different areas, because I know real when I see real. I know BS when I see BS. I know honesty when I see honesty. I know hustler or hustle when I see hustle. And I think all of that has to do with my upbringing, because I was kind of forced to learn those hard lessons.
Yeah. That's so true, because the kids now, they got social media. So you see things that people create for you to see. But,
Yes.
with us being like we're raised where we were at, it's like we see everything front and center, the real, the raw, uncut, and it humbles you, or it's either gonna change your perspective on
Yeah.
different things, and it give you a sense of what your different sensories of knowing, because you were saying like basically when people's giving you BS or not and stuff. But
Yes.
that's come
Yes.
from a lot of interaction with people and experiencing different things, and kids don't get that much because they're always on electronics.
Right. Yeah. And not only that, but exactly like you said, people are presenting what they want you to see. And
Yeah.
so if all you know is what you see, and what you see is this perfection, this perfect image, it's like people don't really look like that. People don't really, go to Louis Vuitton and shop every day. Like that's not really what
No.
happens. I don't care what they're showing you, that's probably one take, over 30 different broken up scenes, maybe some clothes changes in between there, but yeah, that's not realistic. And just being able to appreciate having gone through like real life is what I would like to
Yeah.
just describe it as. I think that is a big part of business success.
It is. I agree. So, what inspired you to pursue such a diverse and impactful careers, from law enforcement to entrepreneurship and community service?
So in my mind, sometimes I feel like I have an odd way of thinking, but I feel like it's all kind of connected. And so when I was a kid, literally 9 years old, I wanted a career in law enforcement. And so that was my dream. But I also knew from a business sense, as a kid, that same 9, 10 year old, I used to go to 7-Eleven every weekend and buy the business section, or get the LA Times to get the business section. And I had this fascination with money and real estate. And I knew that I wanted to be able to do those things, but I also knew that being in law enforcement is not, the type of career that makes you wealthy. I
Mm,
learned that early on, when you work a blue collar job, or working for someone else, your paycheck is what your paycheck is. Yes, you may get raises. Yes, you may get bonuses, but there's always going to be that glass ceiling. Even a chief of police has a glass ceiling. So when I got into law enforcement, the first thing that I started to do when I got paid was start saving for investments. And
wow.
so I think I was 21, maybe 22 when I bought my first apartment building. And
What?
that was kind of the beginning of the entrepreneurial Marlo, because again, I knew that I needed to do something else. And it was just a matter of using one thing to kind of catapult me to another thing. And again, while doing that, having that same upbringing in Inglewood, it helped me realize that there were a lot of people that had these goals and these dreams. And there was something within me that made me go out and do all of this research at a young age. And, was fortunate enough to kind of find a mentor that kind of guided me and helped me really understand real estate at a young age without having a real estate license. I've never had a real estate license in my life, but it did not prevent me or hinder me in any way from being an investor and buying properties and flipping properties and selling properties, and understanding landlord tenant laws. And everything that I did starting out in real estate, I did myself, because I like to have a really good understanding of something before I pay other people to do it.
Mhm.
Maybe it's being cheap. I wouldn't even get an attorney to do my evictions. I went and I studied and I got familiar with the paperwork and researched and figured out how to do that myself. So the first, unfortunately, I know eviction is like a bad word, but the first 2 evictions I ever did in my life, I did myself. And the
Oh,
first time, it was a hard lesson to learn, because I messed up on one of the dates, so the calendar had to start over. But again, these life experiences that really help you, prepare for that next level, and for you to look at what you've done and say, you know what, that'll never happen again, because you had to learn that lesson the hard way. So that is what really started me out in entrepreneurship. And the community service part, I kind of did that with law enforcement. And it was a little bit different. And as I matured and got older and ended up getting out of law enforcement, I wanted to do something, more beneficial for people, women, African American people, people that had goals and desires and dreams and really just trying to figure it out.
Right. You know what's so great about everything you just said, with you being so young and getting into real estate and everything. I love the fact that you educated yourself and you had discipline to be able to continue on and inspire. Just it's an inspiration just even hearing you do that, because sometimes we don't have that mindset to actually look and do our own research and educate ourselves to do something. We always look for a helping hand. And
Yeah.
some people got to realize that if you want it that bad, you're going to get what you need.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, there was really nobody to help. And again, something else I learned early on is most of the people that have it, for whatever reason, don't really want to share it. And so I kind of vowed to myself that I would never be that type of person, because with all the mistakes that I made and that I learned from, if I had somebody say, you know what, hey, don't do that, or here's another way you can do it, and it may not cost you as much, it may not take as much time, I would have gotten a lot further, a lot faster. And while I'm grateful for having gone through the experiences myself, it would have been great to have somebody, a mentor or something, to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And, again, now with social media, everybody's a mentor and everybody, is teaching something, but it all comes at a cost. And
Yeah.
everybody doesn't have that expense to be able to pay, because if people had money, they probably wouldn't be looking for help to start to do something that creates money.
Yes.
So I just try to, do my part in that aspect.
Wow. So as a first Black woman to chair of California State Licensing Board, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
I can't really say I faced any challenges specific to that. But one of the
Okay.
things that I've always faced a challenge with, being a Black female and sometimes looking a lot younger than I actually am, is people taking me seriously.
Yeah.
So it's very important, especially even now, to be well versed, to know what you're talking about, to be educated, to be able to walk into any room and kind of stand on business. This is what it is. And to let people say, okay, yeah, she knows her stuff. Maybe I can't pull that fast one, or maybe I can't, manipulate the scenario like I thought, because clearly she knows the law, or she knows the regulations, she knows the rules. And so that's something that I've always had to do, regardless of, the position I held. It was, hey, I've got to be informed. I can't walk into a room not knowing. I've got to be able to answer the tough questions and know that they're not going to go and research and say, you know what, you were wrong.
That's so true. So can you talk about the journey of creating a successful business like Stage 21 and the latest venture of California Vintage Wine Bristol and other things that you have going on?
So I think the number one thing for business is marketing. And you have to understand marketing. Even now, with digital marketing, social media marketing, there's so many ways to market. But I think that is the key to having a successful business, because at the end of the day, if people don't know that you exist, you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
And marketing, unfortunately, is also one of the larger expenses if you want to really do it the right way. It's not like marketing yourself or your social media page, but marketing a business, you actually really have to go in. You've got to get the ads, you've got to you've got to target that audience, because it's brick and mortar for those type of businesses that I had. When you have a bar and a lounge and a restaurant and a wine bistro, those are places that people actually have to physically get up and want to go to. It's not something that someone could just be at home and say, you know what, I'm going to Google this and, oh, that looks cool. I'm going to sit at my house and watch, this podcast or do, anything that doesn't require them to move. So I think to have a successful brick and mortar business, you've got to focus on marketing, and you've got to focus on creating a business that makes people want to get up and get out. And, honestly, post-pandemic, that's been a lot more challenging, but people always want to go to a nice place. So if you have a nice place and you've got a nice ambiance and you've got some amazing, video footage and, everything just looks amazing. You've got beautiful pictures of food and the wine that's being poured by someone that looks like, they actually wash their hands. Little things, like it's those small details that some people, I think, don't pay attention to, that if you're looking at something, again, social media, it makes you say, well, I want to try that place, or, oh my God, that food looks amazing. Right. And so then once the person gets there, that's your opportunity to kind of seal the deal, because the last thing you want them to do, again, because of social media, you don't want them to give you like this horrible review, food looked nothing like, the presentation online. No, you've got to create something that you can actually do consistently and do well. So I think that is a very big part of having a successful business, just to focus on the marketing and the image.
Yes, that is so true. Sometimes how do you feel like as far as when marketing gets draining though? Because sometimes people could be on a roll with marketing and they have to turn around and do it themselves. And besides hiring someone to do marketing, what is like the best strategy that you figured out for yourself on how to like balance it out and still be able to keep everyone engaged and seeing what you are doing?
So I will tell you a hard truth and a secret is I do all my own marketing, and it is hard.
I bet.
It is not easy looking at all of the different things that you have going on and dedicating time to promoting this, promoting that. Oh, I forgot to post those videos. I need to go here and take some content. I need to get footage of that. I need really good photos for this.
Yeah.
It is very taxing, but similar to the story that I shared when I first started investing in real estate, is people charge a lot of money to do that. So when I do it myself, it is that much more rewarding. But in my cheap mind, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, wow, I just saved like $10,000. So as hard and taxing as it is, I look at what I would have had to pay someone else to do that, and it makes me very thankful that I have that skill and that I'm able to do it myself.
Girl,
But it's a lot of apps. It's a lot of stuff.
I already know, because girl, you wouldn't even believe it. Everything on my podcast, I've been doing it myself, and it is a mess. It's a lot of work. It just becomes so draining. But I think at the end of the day, we changing lives that we don't even know. They may not comment, they may not say absolutely nothing, but it's always that one moment when somebody be like, you are inspiring me, you help me do this, and that. It's like so rewarding hearing it.
You are 1000% correct. And that right there, I think, is my motivation personally. You never really know who you're helping. And I used to do these little quotes that were called Marloism. And I think a friend named it that. And then I just started like doing a hashtag Marloism. And it was just, I would wake up every morning and it would just be a thought, and I would put it out there in the world. And that's one thing about me, no matter what I'm going through, how bad a day was, I always realize that, I'm still so much better off than so many other people. So I'm constantly being grateful. And sometimes when you're in a bad place, it's hard to remember that, but it's true. So I kind of force myself to always keep that in the forefront. And a lot of times when I'm sending these positive messages and these motivating messages, it always starts with me. So I'm always thinking about myself when I'm saying this, not even knowing who else needs to hear that. But over the years, I can't even count the number of people that have texted me, DM'd me, even called me and said, man, you were on point today. I needed that. or even commented that. So that in itself is enough for me.
I felt that. Because seriously, it's just, I don't know, we just do so much in our personal lives and we just be so authentically sharing. Because I've seen a lot of things on your page. It inspired me. And it's
Oh,
like,
thank you.
and it made me feel like, man, I'm not alone. So it's like you just never know for real. And it's just, especially when you see authentic people that sharing realness and they're not trying to like, put this illusion into their lives when you be like, oh yeah, okay. But like you're actually putting out some amazing educative things for people to actually learn. And I appreciate you for that too.
No, I appreciate that. I feel like there is more than enough of everything in this world. I don't have to be selfish. I don't have to, hold things close. I don't have any secrets, especially when it comes to business and mistakes. And, I never
Right.
really understood people that felt like, don't tell anybody. Like, man, tell everybody. Like
Right.
people are out here doing bad. Tell everybody. Like, who
Man, you ain't
cares?
lying.
As far as I'm concerned, there is no competition. I don't feel like if I tell someone something that now they're competing with me. There's a gazillion, real estate properties. There's a gazillion business ventures. There's, nobody can invest so much into something that it prevents me from investing. So why not share it? If I'm making a certain amount of money because I invested a certain thing, I'm telling all my friends, hey guys, this is what I did. Y'all might want to jump on this. I don't want to hear about it later talking about why didn't you tell me?
So, with you having so much knowledge and doing so much, could you tell us about your nonprofit organization and the generational wealth builders worldwide?
So, yes, what I actually did is I put together my own online school on Teachable, and that's mainly for adults, people that, would try to, no, I don't want to say try, but people that would comment asking me questions or general getting into business. I know there's a lot of people that are working 9 to 5s and they really would love to be able to do their own thing. It's kind of a business 101 without going to college and paying tuition and buying books. It's
Right.
the raw, because I've done literally everything myself, from starting LLCs to building business credit, heck, to fixing personal credit so I can get more business credit. Like, I have literally done, I believe, everything from A to Z. And there's people out here spending a lot of money paying other people to do it. And I'm not trying to cut into those people's businesses, but
Right.
for the people that are not in a position to afford to pay somebody $7,000 to build their business credit, because that's how much, I know that people are sometimes charging. There
Yeah.
are ways to do that yourself. And it's not I don't do it in a way where, hey, comment this on my social media page and I'll send you a free guide. Like, I'm not doing that. I want people to just be able to get the information and just live a better life. When people are happy, it's good. I'm happy when I see
Yeah.
other people happy, especially if it's somebody that I helped, somebody that I hooked up, somebody that I mentored. Everybody that I've ever mentored that's doing their own thing right now, it makes me so happy to see them thriving and doing well.
That's the goal, man. That is the goal.
And
It's just
yeah.
it's just helping people see them thrive. It just makes life so much easier, especially on the outside world, because you never know what people are going through. And
Oh
even
God.
though they putting on this like perception that they're doing so well, sometimes they are trying to do well so they can get further ahead to trick people into them actually becoming successful, because it's a struggle sometimes when you're running a business and you're trying to succeed, but yet you reach your lows and then you reach your highs. But sometimes you have more lows than highs. In some occasions, it depends on what type of chapter you are in your life.
No, absolutely. But the other part of my nonprofit is for kids. Again, I have 2 young girls, and everything for me is a learning or a teaching opportunity for them. So my oldest, love taking her with me when I'm going to do different, projects, or if I'm speaking at an event, or if I have like some manual labor to do. Oh, she hates the manual labor part. She wants to help do everything except, lift a box. If I say we're going to have to take this from here to there, she's like, oh, Mom. But again, it's all a business and learning experience, because it gives me an opportunity to talk to her about what's going on, what we're going to do, how we're doing it, and just to kind of give her a sense of business, because that's going to set her apart from anyone else that, is her age, that doesn't have someone to have those conversations with her. So my nonprofit, I want to get kids together, like high school age, and kind of help them navigate the business world, if that's something that they're interested in, is business. And there are so many things that they don't teach you in school. How do I know? Because I've been to more colleges than I'm, willing to admit, but I've spent a lot of time going to school, and way more than half of what I know, I learned from doing.
Wow. That is, with you, with you starting everything and stuff, have you ever just sat back and just was proud of yourself, just took time out for you and just like digest everything?
No. There might be something wrong with me. I know there might be something wrong with me where I'm never really content.
Really?
Like no. And I think sometimes my goals and my dreams are bigger than me. And so there always feels like there's more work to do, right? So, for example, I have properties right now that I want to develop. And all I can think about in between everything else that I'm doing is I need to get these done, because I want my kids to have something for when I'm no longer here. I'm very hard on them in terms of when I'm talking to them about life and business and finances and credit, that they understand it. Because again, I especially my oldest, tell her all the time, I'm not going to be here forever. And I need to know that when I depart this earth, that you're good, right? And again, I love, my mother is one of my best friends, my best friend, period. But she wasn't in a position to make me an heiress. She wasn't an heiress. She taught me what she knew. I was able to take that and, learn a lot of things on my own. I feel like with everything I've done, I have a lot to share. And why not start with, my kids and other kids that are interested in learning? I don't have the only way, but I know that it's worked, and people can take something that has worked and make it better, make it, smarter. Again, they have technology that I didn't have when I started doing all of this stuff. So there's always some improvements that can be made, but there's nothing better than learning, like, with actually doing it. And so that's what the nonprofit is designed to do. It's almost like take your daughter to work day or take your son to work day. I want to be able to get a group of kids that are interested in business. And I guess right now it would be predominantly, my lounge business or restaurant business. But in that, when I say everything is kind of connected, the thing that you mentioned that I was the chair of is the contractors licensing board for the state. So my experience in construction translates into my knowledge of developing real estate, which translates into Marlo the investor from when I first started investing in real estate, right? Then the business aspect of it, from starting LLCs, incorporating business credit, business loans, lines of credit, equity, all of these things are related. They may be different areas of business, but they all are related in one way or the other.
Wow. So speaking of businesses, could you tell me what you currently have going on within your business life?
So I have a California cannabis license out here. So we just finished rebuilding a very large grow out here in LA. So I've got that business, and that comes with distribution and a retail store that we've been working on. One of the things that I'm actually most proud of that I've done probably the least amount with, but it's the newest thing, is I taught myself how to build an app. So I actually developed an app. And so because I just can't be simple when I do things, that turned into a tech company that will be building more apps that are kind of designed to help me do the things that I do. And so the app that I built was actually based on fitness and health. I am by no means, I no longer have the six pack. I'm good, but eating right and kind of being physically fit is important. I definitely eat pretty good. And so that's what the app is designed to do, kind of keep you on track depending on what your goal is, right? Is your goal to maintain weight, to lose weight, or to build muscle? And it takes you through all of these steps depending on what your goals are to, this is how you're supposed to eat. These are different workouts you do. It allows you to set reminders. I hate water, right? Probably how I ended up in the bar and lounge business. Give me a glass of wine all day. The water, I don't know about that, but I have to do better. So one of the things that I included in the app was water reminders, because I need water reminders. I need someone to be like, Marlo, did you drink water today? Because most of the time the answer is going to be no. So it actually allows you to set reminders for working out, reminders for water. And again, when you have a busy life, those little things matter. And so that's what that current business is. And then again, the California Vintage is a wine bar in Anaheim, California. I'm pretty proud of that with my partner. We've got these cool wine machines that give you the perfect pour, stick a card in it, 4-ounce taste, 8-ounce glass, 6-ounce pour. It just allows, for different variations. Right now, we're not allowing the customers to use the card portion, but at some point that will be, a selling point for us as well. You kind of like Dave and Buster's. I don't know if they have Dave and Buster's where you are, but it's like an adult. Yeah. So if you can imagine adult wine playground, right? You've got your card, it's got money on it. You just go in and you want to sample everything. So we have that going. Thank you. I am in the process of working on another bar venture in Las Vegas. So that one is a little bit more challenging because it has a gaming license attached to it. So working on finishing that one up. Let's see what else. And a couple other investments just in other businesses. Something that I've learned that I'm very, I guess if I could say, proud of myself for, is learning how to have partners. Marlo probably 10 years ago did everything by herself. And now I have grown in the sense of learning how to have good partnerships in business and being able to find like-minded people that I can work with that, have the same goals as me. California Vintage is one of them. My partner in that venture actually helped me with my stage 21, and I basically hired him as a consultant. He did a lot of great work for me. So when he came to me with his idea, absolutely, here you go, let's do it. And so it's going really, really well. So now we're talking about second and third locations already. We've got a great partnership with the building that we're in. It's a mixed use development. So it's kind of like we've got our own built-in customers already. And it's just great. But learning how to work with other people in business is what has really allowed me to do so many things efficiently.
Wow. I have a confession, Marlo.
I'm ready. I'm here for it.
I'm at this stage in my life right now where I have been doing everything on my own for years. I've been a business owner since 2008, and I've never partnered with anybody. And I wasn't and isn't great with keeping in contact with people and networking and stuff. And I think it comes from the things I've been through as a business owner and dealing with trust issues, people betraying you, people doing sneaky stuff, and you give so much, and people take. So it's like dealing with different things like that. And it's so crazy that you brought this up, because I actually just prayed and prayed for like God to bring certain people in my life with these spaces where I feel comfortable at, because the spaces I was in, I wasn't comfortable, because I was always the one that knew everything, had the creative mindset and all that. And it's just difficult for me right now with this transition, because it's like I'm starting from scratch to figure out who to turn to with this mindset, where to go to meet people. And it's really hard, especially when you've been through a lot. So like with you being a business owner for so long and making that transition, how has that been for you, especially with, having trust issues and dealing with betrayal and stuff?
So I completely understand what you're talking about. I have been there, and to be honest with you, I'm still there, but I will tell you that it does get better. And what makes it better is once you find those people that
Mm-hmm.
do what they say, and they are able, like, they have something to show, right? My partner in California Vintage, he showed me his quality. He showed me why I should be in business with him because of what he did with my business, right? I
Right.
was able to look at the actual work. He couldn't sell me a dream because I watched him work. And the
Right.
skills that he had were so much better than mine in that area. And so it works. And funny thing is, he has got zero social media skills. So it kind of worked out to be a benefit for both of us. He's not
Mm,
paying all the money for marketing, and I can trust him in what he does in the restaurant space because he's got like 30 years of experience at a very high level, right? I was doing, you know, small venues, regardless of the quality, it was still small. He was managing and operating like national restaurant chains. Not sure if you're familiar with the Boa Steakhouse and Maestro's, and yeah,
yeah.
he was doing that level, right? I'm over here with my little bar and lounge, and he's like, he
Big.
came in with all the connections. He's like, you're going to need to contact blank, 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 blank. We're going to have this person come do this person. And I was like, oh, you got it, buddy. Whatever you need, just, you go on and handle that. And so when he asked me to work with him, absolutely, because he's
Mhm.
proven, right? I have a partner in the cannabis industry, proven, absolutely proven. So it is, to say the least, it is very comforting to work with people
I
that
bet.
have proven experience and success and are not just telling you what they can do, but have been able to show you what they can
Right.
do. I think that makes all the difference. Now, does that mean that everybody gets a free chance? No, because I still have those bad experiences that are right here, always reminding me, yeah, that's BS. Like, nah, it doesn't work that way. I still have those experiences, but it is a benefit to have those experiences. So I will say this: when you find someone that gives you, I guess, the feeling of they figured it out, figure out what you have to add to that can make it better. And that's your partnership right there. It's not
Mhm.
about two people that, think alike. That's not what you want. You want
No.
someone that doesn't think like you, right? Maybe
Yeah.
even the opposite, but is a great communicator, non-confrontational, and it's not going to be a fight, right?
Yes.
Both of my partners are both very strong individuals. I'm a strong individual. We don't fight or argue about anything. We have an understanding. Marlo's great at this. This person is great at that. She does this. They do that. We collaborate in the middle, and sometimes they give me their ideas. And if it sounds better than mine, or if it makes sense, we do that. Like, there's no
Mhm.
ego involved. There's no competition involved. At the end of the day, we are there to be successful and make money. And we have that goal in mind. It's not about, I'm not going to, oh God, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I had a person in my past, still part of me, and they know how I feel, so I don't feel bad about saying this, but there is no place in legitimate business for egos. And when you have someone that is more worried about being seen and want everybody to think that they are the owner or this is theirs, it's just bad for business, because your mind, not your mind, but their mind is kind of clouded with the fake stuff. You know, you're trying to look like you're doing something when the something is not getting done. I need you to do the thing that you want everybody to think that you're doing. You want to look like you own it, act like you own it. You know, and I've made that mistake before in trying to be, quote, low key and having people think that, you know, another person owned my business because I was just kind of like hands off. Right. And again, it was just way too much ego involved. And I had to say, you know what? That's it. I can't do it anymore. This is my business. You stand down, and made it very clear. You listen to what I say. This is what's going to happen, you know, and then things started to get better and kind of flow from there. But it's tough. You have to find your people. You got to find your people. Because doing it by yourself is not it. And trust me, when you've done it by yourself for so long, I'm telling you, I am you. I get it. But once you've done it that way for so long, you just kind of get used to working really hard. But then there's this other side when you find your people and it becomes seamless and things just kind of flow and your stress level is like cool. You don't feel bad about going out of town because you know that there's somebody that's got it and they legitimately have it because they're vested. It's great. Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful.
It is. And you know, it's just, I don't know, it's gonna take time. I can actually say my daycare is running smoothly. I can go out of town, I could do what I want, I could do this podcast, you know, it's running smoothly, but it's like it's so much more I want to do and that I need to do, but it's like I feel like I've never had a mentor to actually mentor me. So it's like that's where my search is now, having a mentor, because I didn't have no one teach me financial literacy or how to manage my money and how to grow my money and things like that. I've been reading and researching on my own, and I know my listeners right now is like, yes, I'm glad you asking her these questions because a lot of people was in that space and they want to move forward, but it's like sometimes it's difficult to find that space and navigate your way through and actually have that discernment of having good people, because you know a lot of times people could sell you a dream. And when they sell you the dream, it's like want like dang.
It's embarrassing to say how much money that I've actually like lost in my lifetime. It's crazy to when I even think about it, I get thousands. Oh
no, thousands.
Me way more than that. It's insane. But again, learning lessons and just knowing what to do and what not to do is just, if I'd had somebody just tell me, don't do that, don't you dare. Like that would have been, oh God, where would I be right now? Like I'm not in a bad spot, but where would I really actually be? But that's okay, because once you've had it, you can get it back.
Yeah, you can.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah,
firm believer in
that. Me too, for sure. What advice do you give to women, particularly Black women, looking to break into entrepreneurship or leadership roles?
Be taken seriously. Be someone that people look at and they say, yeah, she's got her stuff together. I think that is probably the best thing that you can do, because especially my experience, for example, coming from a law enforcement background, if you can imagine, you've got leadership roles right here, and then you've got law enforcement leadership roles. And it's a big difference, because law enforcement leadership roles, you're talking about supervising the world of alphas, right? This is normal people. These are all the alpha people right here, the people that get paid to tell people what to do, the people that could put you behind bars, the people that could take away your livelihood, the people that heck can take away your life. So it's a different personality when you're dealing with people in law enforcement. And I could say that for having done it for almost 20 years, and different type of people. And so being able to talk to and manage those type of personalities, you have to be someone that is taken seriously. And I don't mean that in the sense of being a jerk, being a know-it-all, being a smart ass, but someone that people look at and they say, okay, I said this earlier, she's got her stuff together. Like, she knows what she's talking about. She is proven that what she says is how I should do it, because I see the results. And I think that is very important, especially as a woman, and unfortunately as a Black woman. We are kind of at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of those kind of roles where people really respect us and want to believe that what we're saying is fact and knowledge, that we're knowledgeable, and that it's a realistic expectation coming from us, right? So I think that is probably the best thing that we can do, is be informed, be knowledgeable, be well spoken, and mean business.
Yes, that is so true. So if you could go back in time and give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Don't sell the real estate.
Don't sell the real estate?
Don't sell it. I should have kept everything I had.
Man.
Should have kept everything I had.
Man.
And just to kind of give a perspective on that, because there's people that, career flippers, and I get it. But if you are flipping something, meaning real estate, I'm going to use real words so people can understand me. If you are flipping real estate, that means that real estate has equity. If it has equity, that means you could pull it out. If you can pull it out, there's no point in selling it, right? Pull the equity out, use the equity, reinvest it in something else, get your money from A, get your money from B, and keep doing it. And that's how I started out. I literally started out with one thing, pulled equity, bought something else, pulled equity, bought something else, pulled equity, bought something else. Always kind of keeping a little bit of money myself, use that. And then I started buying businesses. So I was like kind of double dipping all while I was working at the police department. So, you got paycheck coming in, you got rent, you got, equity. And it was just really good. And then I think young, and at that time, ego set in, and it was like, I got money, and you start getting careless, overspending. And like someone told me, or I don't know if I saw this on social media or if someone actually told me, but if you have money, you should be spending it like you don't. It's the people that usually don't have money that overspend. Yes. And I wish I had that mindset when I had my most, because again, the money that I threw away, the money that I just, kind of tossed at the wall to see if something would stick. If I could get all of that back, we're talking millions, like literally, if I could get that back, but I can't. So you got to kind of reinvent, those same aspects with a different mindset. So what I would tell my younger self, other than don't sell the real estate, is change your mindset. Mindset is everything in business. If you don't have the right mindset, it's very difficult to be successful.
That's true. That is so true. So if you were, for us to end this interview, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs that are established already and still thriving and pushing forward?
just keep going. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. It's just that simple. Mindset, mindset and mentality. You have to believe in yourself before anybody else is going to believe in you. You want people to invest in your idea, you better show that you believe in it and that you are knowledgeable and that you are committed and that you've got the first, hand in, that you're invested in yourself. Hard for people to invest in you when you're not invested in yourself. Hard for people to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself.
That is so true. So how can people get in contact with you and follow you on social media or reach out to you for your course?
So I am on social media. Let's start with Instagram at Miss Marlo Nicole. That's MS Marlo Nicole. And TikTok, Dr. Marlo Nicole, DR Marlo Nicole. And any information on anything I have, you can find through social media, Facebook, Marlo Nicole or Marlo Richardson. And yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere.
Well, thank you, Marlo. I appreciate you. I love this interview. It was so encouraging, enlightening. It was everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life Heard Podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and listen to us on all major audio platforms. Have a blessed day.
Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.